Hello and welcome to the next video in all the IB Econ Diagrams Explained series, where I'm going to talk about consumer and producer surplus. As I said, I'll be updating this playlist every week during the weekend on Saturday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. All right, so in the last video, I talked about market equilibrium. Okay. From that, we can derive the concepts of consumer and producer surplus. So I want you to think of consumer surplus is the difference between the price that consumers are willing to pay and the price they actually pay, which is the equilibrium price. Okay. All consumers pay PE, the equilibrium price. But remember, the definition of demand is the quantity of a good or service that consumers are willing and able to buy. Okay, even though they all pay PE, some consumers are willing and able to pay these prices that are higher than the equilibrium price. Okay, so if you look at the difference between this price and the equilibrium price, the difference between this price and the equilibrium, this price and the equilibrium, this price and the equilibrium, and so on and so forth, that will give you the concept of consumer surplus. It's the difference between the price that consumers are willing and able to pay, PWTP, and what they actually pay. It is the area of this triangle between the equilibrium price and under the demand curve. We do not include the area that is below PE because, again, everyone's paying PE. So we ignore the rest of the demand curve. It's basically the portion of the demand curve above PE and then the triangle all the way to PE. This area, now you would find this area using a regular area of a triangle. HL students need to calculate this. It would be half base times height. So half this distance and this distance. This is the base and this is the height. Half base times height. Okay? Fabulous. So remember, it's the idea of the difference between what consumers are, the price that they're willing to pay and the price that they actually pay, which is a PE. All right? This is consumer surplus. Now, producer surplus is the opposite. So producer surplus is basically, all right, I'm going to write it here. Producer surplus is basically the difference between the equilibrium price, PE, and the price that consumers are willing to receive. Remember, producers receive the price. To them, it's revenue. It's not a price that they pay. It's a price that they receive. Okay? What does that mean? All right? It means that even though all producers are receiving the equilibrium price, PE, some may have been willing and able to receive a lower price. All of these lower prices here, some producers may have been willing and able to receive them. Okay, they could still turn a profit charging these lower prices, maybe because they're more efficient or whatever. Okay, so because all the producers are receiving PE, this difference between the prices that some producers would have been willing to receive and PE, this triangle here, is the producer surplus. Okay, now remember, consumer and producer surplus are very abstract concepts. Okay, you feel it as a consumer when, say, you walk into a store and you see something that you really like, and you'd be like, oh, I am willing to pay $10 for this, right? Like, that's how much I want it. And then you find out it's only $1. An economist would say you earned $9 in surplus because even though you're willing to pay $10, you ended up only paying $1. Okay, but we don't really live in a world where people reveal what they're willing to pay or producers reveal what they're willing to receive. So it's an abstract concept. Okay, so this area here above the portion of the supply curve below the equilibrium, this all the way to the equilibrium, is the producer surplus. Okay, fabulous. Now, when you add consumer surplus and producer surplus together, that will give you what we call social surplus or community surplus. Economic theory tells us that this is maximized at equilibrium. So social surplus is the sum of consumer surplus and producer surplus. It's the entire grilled cheese sandwich here. That's what I call it. Okay? This entire triangle is the social surplus or the community surplus. And we are told by economic theory that it is maximized at equilibrium. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the concept of marginal benefit and marginal cost. At equilibrium, marginal benefit is equal to marginal cost. So what's the meaning of marginal benefit? It is the extra benefit that consumers receive from consuming one additional unit. Extra benefit received from consuming one additional unit. What is the marginal cost? It is the extra cost that producers pay to produce one additional unit. These concepts will become clearer when we get to market failure, when we look at the marginal private benefit versus the marginal social benefit, marginal private cost versus marginal social cost. But the concept of marginal means extra, okay? At the equilibrium price, the extra benefit that consumers receive from consuming one additional unit is equal to the extra cost that producers incur from producing one additional unit. Okay, that means the market has achieved what we call allocative efficiency. Okay, so at equilibrium, the market has achieved what we call allocative efficiency. There is no need to produce anymore because the market has allocated just the right amount of resources from society's point of view to the production and consumption of this good. So remember, allocative efficiency occurs when social surplus, which is the sum of consumer and producer surplus, is maximized, and that occurs at equilibrium. Why? Because the marginal benefit received from consuming one additional unit is equal to the marginal cost incurred from producing one additional unit. Okay? Try to kind of wrap your head around these abstract concepts for now, but they will get clearer when you get to market failure and you start to look at the externalities diagrams. Okay, so this is the concept of consumer and producer surplus, social and community surplus, allocative efficiency, and the concept of how allocative efficiency occurs at equilibrium because marginal benefit is equal to marginal cost. The market has allocated just the right amount of resources to this good or service. There is no under allocation or over allocation. Allocative efficiency means the market has allocated just the right amount of resources, which is important because resources are scarce, right? So we want to allocate just the right amount of resources to that good or service. We don't want to over allocate or under allocate. Okay, I hope you found this useful. If you did, please press like. That helps the algorithm and helps people who can find this video useful find it. Please subscribe to the channel. Tune in every weekend for a new video. And consider becoming a channel member. There's a join button under this video. There's a lot of exclusive content for IB Econ students in the members area. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.